Have you ever found yourself wondering why financial distress seems to be an unending cycle for many people? It's a question that has crossed many minds, and the answer is often more complex than we might initially believe. Financial distress, a state where one's income can't cover necessary expenses or debts, is a prevalent issue in our society. It's a silent struggle for many, a quiet battle waged behind closed doors, and it's more common than you might think. We are living in an era where financial awareness and literacy are more critical than ever. Yet, many of us are not equipped with the knowledge or tools necessary to navigate the murky waters of money management. This lack of understanding often leads to poor financial decisions, which can result in a cycle of ever-increasing debt and distress. But why is it so crucial to discuss this issue? Well, financial distress isn't just about having trouble paying bills. It can lead to a host of other problems, such as stress, anxiety, and even physical health issues. It can strain relationships, cause sleepless nights, and lead to a sense of hopelessness. But more than that, it can trap people in a cycle of poverty and hardship that can be incredibly difficult to break free from. The good news, though, is that understanding the causes and impacts of financial distress can be the first step towards breaking this cycle. By equipping ourselves with the right knowledge and tools, we can make informed decisions that can improve our financial health. We can learn how to budget effectively, manage our debts, and plan for the future. We can take control of our financial destiny and break free from the constraints of financial distress. So let's dive into this topic together, exploring the causes, impacts, and solutions to financial distress. It's time to shed light on this often overlooked issue and empower ourselves with the knowledge to make a change. The reality is, financial distress can be a vicious cycle, but it doesn't have to be. Knowledge is power, and with the right information, it's possible to break free. So, what exactly is financial distress? Let's delve into it. Financial distress is a term that describes a situation where an individual or organization cannot meet or pay its financial obligations. This could be due to heavy debts, insufficient income, or unexpected expenses. But it's essential to grasp that financial distress isn't just about the numbers in your bank account. It's much more intricate and pervasive. You see, financial distress can take on various forms. It could be the stress of living paycheck to paycheck, worrying if you'll have enough to cover your bills. It could be the fear of an unexpected expense that would throw your budget into disarray. It could be the inability to save for your future, leaving you feeling like you're stuck in a never-ending cycle of financial instability. But here's the thing, financial distress isn't just about monetary issues. It also encompasses the mental and emotional strain related to these money woes. It's the sleepless nights spent worrying about how you're going to pay your mortgage or rent. It's the anxiety that creeps in when you think about your mounting credit card debt. It's the feeling of hopelessness when you're not sure if you'll ever be able to dig yourself out of this financial hole. Financial distress can create a heavy burden, one that weighs not only on your wallet, but also on your mind and heart. It can lead to stress, anxiety, and even depression. And these mental and emotional impacts can further exacerbate the financial issues, creating a vicious cycle that can be hard to break. On a larger scale, when businesses experience financial distress, it can lead to layoffs, budget cuts, and even bankruptcy, which all have ripple effects on the economy. Clearly, financial distress is more than just an empty wallet. It's a complex issue that affects many aspects of our lives. It's a problem that needs to be understood in its entirety so that we can find effective ways to manage it and hopefully prevent it. But what causes financial distress in the first place? It's a question that's often asked, and the answer is as complex as it is varied. Let's start with poor financial management. This is probably the most common cause. When you spend more than you earn, or when you don't plan for future expenses, you're setting yourself up for financial distress. It's like trying to run a marathon without any training. You might be able to do it for a while, but eventually you're going to hit a wall. Then there are unexpected expenses. Life has a way of throwing curveballs at us when we least expect it. Your car breaks down, your roof starts leaking, you fall ill and have to pay medical bills. These are all examples of unexpected expenses that can cause financial distress, especially if you don't have an emergency fund to fall back on. Job loss is another major cause. Losing your primary source of income is a huge blow, especially if you're living paycheck to paycheck. And in today's uncertain economic climate, job loss is a reality that many people are facing. Finally, there's a lack of financial literacy. Many people simply don't understand how money works. They don't know how to budget, how to save, how to invest. They don't understand the difference between good debt and bad debt. And without this knowledge, they're like a ship without a rudder, drifting aimlessly in the sea of finance and often crashing into the rocks of financial distress. Now, it's important to realize that these causes are not mutually exclusive. In fact, they often feed off each other. Poor financial management can lead to unexpected expenses. Job loss can lead to poor financial management. A lack of financial literacy can exacerbate all of these issues. So it's apparent that financial distress can be caused by a variety of factors, some within our control and some not. Understanding these causes is the first step towards preventing financial distress and achieving financial well-being. The impact of financial distress can be far-reaching, but how exactly does it affect us? The implications of financial distress are not confined to our bank accounts. In fact, it extends its tentacles into various facets of our lives, subtly and sometimes not so subtly influencing our mental health, relationships, productivity, and overall quality of life. Let's start with mental health. The constant worry about money can lead to stress, anxiety, and even depression. It's like a dark cloud that follows you around, casting a shadow over everything you do. You may find yourself losing sleep, feeling overwhelmed, and struggling to find joy in things you once loved. Next, let's talk about relationships. Money-related stress can put a strain on even the strongest of bonds. It can lead to arguments, mistrust, and resentment. It can make us feel isolated and misunderstood. It can even cause us to push away those we care about, as we grapple with feelings of guilt, shame, or embarrassment. Now, on to productivity. When you're constantly worried about money, it can be hard to focus on anything else. Your work may suffer, your creativity may dwindle, and your motivation may wane. Over time, this can lead to missed opportunities, stalled career growth, and decreased job satisfaction. Finally, let's touch on overall quality of life. Financial distress can make it harder for us to take care of ourselves and our loved ones. It can mean having to forego things that bring us joy or comfort. It can limit our ability to pursue hobbies, travel, or even invest in our education or personal growth. It's important to remember that financial distress is not a personal failing. It's a challenge that many of us face at some point in our lives. And while it can feel overwhelming, it's not insurmountable. The impact of financial distress can be profound, affecting not just our wallets but our health, relationships, and overall happiness. Now that we understand the problem, what can we do about it? How can we manage financial distress? Let's dive into it. The first and perhaps most fundamental strategy is budgeting. It's the bedrock on which solid financial management is built. Budgeting is about understanding your income and expenses and making sure that one doesn't outstrip the other. It means keeping track of every penny that comes in and goes out. It's about setting financial boundaries for ourselves and sticking to them. Budgeting can be as simple as writing down all your expenses in a notebook or as sophisticated as using a budgeting app or software. The key is consistency and honesty. The second strategy is saving. It might seem counterintuitive to save when you're in financial distress, but even a small amount put aside can create a buffer against future uncertainties. It's about creating a financial safety net, however small. The size of the net isn't as important as the habit of saving. It's about disciplining ourselves to live within our means and to set aside a portion of our income, no matter how small, for the future. Next up is investing. Now, investing might seem a little out of place in this list. After all, aren't we talking about financial distress? But investing is about growing our money. It's about making our money work for us, instead of us working for our money. It's about understanding that money isn't just a tool for immediate consumption, but also a tool for future growth. It's about taking calculated risks to increase our wealth. Of course, investing requires knowledge and understanding, so it's not something to be entered into lightly. Which brings us to the next strategy, seeking professional help. Sometimes the best way to deal with financial distress is to get help. A financial advisor or a credit counselor can provide valuable insight and advice. They can help us understand our financial situation better and guide us towards appropriate solutions. They can help us develop a financial plan, negotiate with creditors, and even help us set up a debt management plan. Seeking professional help doesn't mean we failed. It means we're taking control of our situation. Finally, we come to improving financial literacy. This is perhaps the most important strategy of all. Financial literacy is about understanding how money works. It's about knowing how to make, manage, and multiply money. It's about understanding the difference between assets and liabilities, between good debt and bad debt, between investing and speculating. It's about knowing how to read a financial statement, how to calculate interest, and how to plan for retirement. Financial literacy is a skill, and like all skills, it can be learned. And the more we learn, the better equipped we are to manage our finances and avoid financial distress. With these strategies in mind, managing financial distress becomes a more attainable goal. It's not about quick fixes, but about making long-term changes for a healthier financial future. And so to sum up, let's revisit the main points we've covered today. Our journey began with an exploration of what financial distress is. It's not just about having less money than we'd like, it's about experiencing a level of financial strain that disrupts our life and well-being. It's a state where our financial obligations exceed our resources, making it difficult to meet our basic needs or fulfill our financial commitments. We then looked at the causes of financial distress. Whether it's due to a sudden loss of income, unexpected expenses, or simply a lack of financial management skills, there can be many triggers. It's important to remember that financial distress can happen to anyone, in any income bracket. It's not a reflection of a person's worth or capabilities, but often a result of circumstances beyond their control. The impacts of financial distress are far-reaching. It's not just about the money, it's about the stress and anxiety that can affect every aspect of our lives. It can lead to mental and physical health issues, strain relationships, and even impact our performance at work. But it's not all doom and gloom. Understanding these impacts can provide the motivation to take action and change our financial situation. That brings us to the solutions for managing financial distress. We talked about the importance of creating a budget and tracking our expenses, the power of saving and investing, and the benefits of seeking professional financial advice. We also discussed the importance of financial literacy, understanding how money works and how to make it work for us. But perhaps the most important point to remember is this: managing financial distress is not just about solving a problem, it's about changing our relationship with money. It's about developing a proactive approach to our finances, where we're not just reacting to financial problems as they arise, but actively working to prevent them. This means taking the time to educate ourselves about money matters, making informed decisions, and being accountable for those decisions. It means setting financial goals and working towards them, even when it's difficult. It means understanding that our financial health is a vital part of our overall well-being, and treating it with the same care and attention we would any other aspect of our health. So as we wrap up, remember this: financial distress is not a life sentence. It's a challenge, yes, but it's one that can be overcome. And the first step to overcoming it is understanding it, knowing what it is, what causes it, and how it affects us. With knowledge, action, and perseverance, it's possible to break free from the chains of financial distress and build a healthier financial future. It's a journey that may be difficult, but it's one that is absolutely worth taking. Remember, financial distress doesn't have to be a life sentence. With knowledge, action, and perseverance, it's possible to break free and build a healthier financial future.